live at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. This is Sooner Sports Talk on the Sooner Sports Network from Learfield.
Throw ahead to Nigel Pack, open for three, and the tie. Got it! Back to Brown up top, three ball, Xavier, bam! Big one!
Chavez right wing will fire a three. It's a swish. Aaliyah Chavez with her first three. Chavez underneath Williams is wide open. Sahara goes up and scores. Good ball movement, and Sahara Williams finished it.
Sooner Sports Talk is brought to you by Dos Equis, official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly.
Beer's got a hand on it. Verhulst to head to Williams. It's a 2-on-1 with Reagan. Reagan goes in. Left side layup is good.
Pack, Forsyth corner, three ball. Got it!
This is Sooner Sports Talk.
Let's go. Welcome to Sooner Sports Talk, live from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. It's like a version of the Oklahoma Breakdown with barbecue. With Gabe Eichert. What's up, Gabe? Welcome.
What's
Teddy
going
Lehman.
on,
What's up,
boys?
Plank?
How we doing,
go,
man?
Baby.
It feels like it's been a while,
It
boys.
has been.
Has.
It's been too long. How was your trip?
It was good. Our entire family got the flu, but other than that, it was great. That's how we started off the old Hawaii trip.
Well,
everyone with the flu.
You battled through adversity to just be here the last time.
Well, yeah, that was. I think that was the start of it.
Oh, were you?
That's my guess. I thought I was just getting dominated by sinuses, and I think there's more to it than that. Plank.
Teddy, did you have a good spring break?
It was good, man. Got a little vacation in, and the real thing though is I was itching to get back for spring football, Plank.
Well, I don't know how many of you have caught the most recent edition of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Eichert and Lehman, but it is a full breakdown of observations that both Gabe and Teddy had from time they spent on Thursday, last week at practice, Friday? Wednesday. I was close. Well, and Teddy, you talked about the safeties, and we'll go in depth on some of the different things that stood out, but Gabe, I think, is someone who loves OU football and covers OU football, and we're down on the sidelines a lot. We know that there's been a challenge at the tight end position. Seems like you really like what you saw, both of you, from out there at camp.
It just looks completely different than it did a season ago. And when we were out there, got to see them work multiple tight end sets, which really was just not a big piece of Ben Arbuckle's offense last season, and understandably so with how that tight end room was from a personnel standpoint. But I think that Jim Nagy and the front office and Brent Venables and his staff did a tremendous job of addressing the need at the tight end position, Ted. Hansen looked great. Beers looked better than I thought he would physically and athletically. And then Van Dorsler, that guy's got a chance to be really, really good down the line. He's still a young player. He's got 3 seasons left, which is important to remember. But the body types, the skill set of these guys, it's going to allow them to do so much more offensively.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the experience that you brought in. Obviously, Hansen's played a ton of ball in the SEC. Van Dorsler played as a freshman in the SEC. Rocky Beers has, a lot of experience playing the position. We're just in a totally different spot. We've kind of been just randomly throwing guys in from the transfer portal, mainly from non-Power 4 schools. And, hoping it was going to get us, to the finish line and kind of fill that hole, fill that need. It's just a different body type. You've got 3 guys that have played inline tight end at a pretty high level. And now it's not where ultimately they want it to be by the time we get to the fall. But, I mean, just a handful of practices in, you can tell that there's a lot of experience there playing the tight end position in line. We're bigger, we're more physical, we got better length. I mean, it doesn't matter who you're playing, whether it's, South Carolina, who won, 4 or 5 games last year, or you're playing in Alabama or, Michigan as we look to next year's schedule, Georgia. There's animals on the edge in this conference. And every single team, no matter who, you can just throw a bunch of teams or pick out of a hat, and maybe it's Missouri, maybe it's Florida. there's a good chance there's a first-round edge player on that football team, so you've got to be really good at the tight end spot. And it's been a glaring weakness for us over the last couple of years. So we're definitely starting off this season in a much better position.
You know, Gabe, you mentioned how you like what you've seen from the offensive line in striking more, being more aggressive in the running game. You know, Kevin Wilson, feel like he has a more prominent role in that. Dylan McCullough comes over where they work together at Indiana. What can you tell us about how different that run game was?
Well, the biggest difference to me, just going out and watching it, is the way that they're coming off the football. And over these last couple seasons, and I think it goes all the way back to some of the RPO stuff that they were doing under Jeff Lebby when he was the coordinator here, it had been pretty measured from an offensive line perspective at the point of attack. The way that they were coming off the football, the type of footwork that they were utilizing, that has changed, in my opinion. It looked very different to me. They are really coming off the ball with velocity, and there's a lot of good that comes from that, but there's also a little risk in doing that. But the way that I view it, you saw that, getting those hips loose. What's up?
That's right.
Sometimes you gotta
get the hips loose.
Gotta get the hips loose in the celebration, apparently. But I think ultimately this mentality shift for Bill Bedenbaugh and Kevin Wilson and Jason Witten, when we were out of practice, was a guy that was continually emphasizing running off the ball, coming off the ball, playing with velocity. I think this new mentality is going to change this run game in a significant way, which we all know how much we struggled running the football a season ago. You combine this new mentality, I think the offensive line is going to be more talented than it was a season ago, and you've got a bunch of interesting guys in the running back room. You've got some new thoughts in the tight end room, new thoughts in the running back room with the coaching changes there. So it's just, there's a lot of exciting things happening when it comes to what OU's going to do running the football.
Teddy, last week we sat here for almost a full hour and talked with Jim Nagy. And, I mean, you see it when you're out there, but it was the number one, it seems like, focus of this offseason. It's just getting the run game right, finding a way to be, I don't know if right's the proper term, just to be better.
Right's the proper term.
Okay.
It was not right a year ago. Now it wasn't the worst in the country,
right,
but it wasn't anywhere close to what we all wanted it to be.
Might have been the worst of the playoff teams, right? Whenever you
Bama's run game was pretty bad,
too. Yeah, that's true. I can't forget Alabama couldn't run the ball very well.
So, but yeah, ultimately, it wasn't what it needs to be if we want to make a legitimate run.
And not a shock. Yeah. Not a shock that it's a big emphasis for him.
No.
Yeah. And you mentioned the tight end room is kind of interesting in Van Dorselaar. Glad you brought up a guy that has some time. It sounds, Gabe, like they didn't even know he was going to be in the portal, and Jason Witten gets hired, and all of a sudden he's like, hey, man, that's a guy I wouldn't mind watching.
Hey, there's benefits with having a Hall of Famer on your coaching roster.
Especially a Hall of Famer that went to that school.
No doubt.
No doubt. Van Dorselaar is a guy that can take some time to develop in too, right?
No. Now, he's going to continue to get bigger, get stronger. He's a young player. Right. This was a guy that was playing as a freshman in the SEC. But when you go out there and just watch him run routes, watch the way that he moves, I think he's the most fluid mover of the group. I think that he has a chance to be the best tight end in this room eventually. Right now, Hayden Hansen, Rocky Beers, those guys are veterans. They've got some savvy, some craftiness to them. And Hansen's just the biggest human being on the planet. It's ridiculous. The guy's huge. But I do think as he continues to add weight, add strength, get bigger, faster, stronger, I think Jack Van Dorselaar is going to be a heck of a tight end.
He's going to play. He's going to play. He's not a developmental piece that you're stowing for the future. I mean, we got 3 guys that can play, and I think all 3 of them will. Now, there'll be a pecking order there, and I think one of the great things about it is they're all a little bit different. Hansen is your big traditional inline tight end. He can split out. But Beers is a guy that you can move behind the line. He's athletic. He can split out, get into the route tree a little bit more. And I think that Van Dorsler's kind of a mix of both of those right now. I mean, I think he'll develop into a better inline tight end as he gets bigger, because he's what, 6'6", 240, 245, and he's the small one in the group. So, yeah, it's a good mix of talent.
And it's a good looking, 240 to 245 pounds, and it's only going to get better. Look, and then you've got some guys that you start to wonder, okay, if we're going to utilize a bunch of 2 tight end and possibly 3 tight end sets, what type of role does a Trene Washington have?
Right.
Now that he's up to 265 pounds.
He looks good out there. I mean, he runs well and he's physical, so he just hasn't played a whole lot of ball for him in that spot. So we'll see where he ends up.
And then you're always looking at guys that can kind of do some different things where you put them on the field and the defense goes, okay, what do we do with that guy? Cade McIntyre is still that type of guy, but it's just he has not been able to stay healthy enough for them to really find that role for him. So if he's able to put together a nice spring, a nice training camp, maybe there's some more it's kind of similar to the way we used Kanak a season ago. Maybe you can do some of that type of stuff with McIntyre.
And I know this might be reading into it too much, but Cade did some media the other day. Like, he was one of the players.
He's been here for a long time. He's just he's a talented guy. He's a good athlete. He's an interesting body type for the position. He almost looks like a big running back or something like that, Ted. But you got to stay healthy for them to find a role for you in the offense.
We got to find a way to make have 5 tight ends on the field. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're looking for.
This opening segment has been presented by Noble McIntyre with McIntyre Law. Noble McIntyre Law, award-winning Oklahoma personal injury attorneys. Quick break. We'll come back, talk about the quarterback and John Mateer next. You're watching Sooner Sports Talk.
Sooner Sports Talk is brought to you by Bob Moore Ford, official sponsor of the Patriot of the Game. Riverwind Casino, the official entertainment destination of OU Athletics. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. Love's, the heart of the highway.
Welcome back to Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. This is Sooner Sports Talk with Teddy Lehman and Gabe Eichert. Hey, don't forget Oklahoma Breakdown. Search any podcast provider. You'll find it there. YouTube as well, too. And what's the website, Gabe? OklahomaBreakdown.com? That easy?
OKBreakdown.com.
OKBreakdown.com.
Thanks for asking, Plank.
Well, I just didn't know if anyone realized that it's the most impressive and hottest and fastest growing podcast on the planet, right?
I don't know if that's accurate, but I appreciate the plug.
Let's roll with it.
It sounds good. I know that.
Listen, I spend my life on Twitter. Facts are not important. This segment is presented by Dos Equis. Dos Equis, the official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Gabe, I'll start with you. There was a lot made a couple weeks ago whenever John Mateer had his first media avail, and he talked about throwing more over the top, less sidearm, less off-platform, or at the very least, focusing more on throwing more over the top. What did you see from him in practice?
Yeah, I thought the mechanics looked cleaner, Ted. I thought one of the things that quarterbacks that I've played with always talked about is like staying connected, your upper body and your feet, and having it all kind of working together. Your feet are leading your body, your head's leading your feet, like all those types of stuff that weird quarterbacks talk about. But that was something that was noticeable, because you think back to last season, how many times did we see Mateer, his body's all contorted, his feet are all over the place, he's slinging it out there sidearm, and you're just like, man, I feel like it could be easier than that. And it seems like the staff and John really went back to the basics and focused a lot on that footwork, Ted. And it just, everything, maybe the best way to put it is everything just looks quieter.
Yeah.
With his body when he's throwing the football out there.
Yeah, I agree. And, I know there's been a lot made about the sidearm throw or the, coming over the top. And, I don't really care about that. As long as the ball shows up on time and on target, throw a hook shot if you want to. I don't care. But the footwork stuff I think there's a couple of things. Like obviously the injury and some inconsistent line play, lack of a running game. He was under pressure a lot. And because he was under pressure a lot, he was kind of under pressure 100% of the time because his clock was sped up. And he's fading away from pressure, whether it's there or not, because there wasn't a lot of trust with that offensive line. And I think we're starting off in a much better spot than we were a year ago. And hopefully, now that the injury's not there with the hand, and we're starting to see some more consistent play with the offensive line, if that group continues to get better and he builds that trust there, then I think that alone is going to solve a lot of the problem.
When you think about back to last season, and we all know that the offense struggled, especially in SEC play. You didn't have a good run game. Your offensive line, remember how many different combinations we had to play? You weren't consistent enough up front. The tight end position was not a strength. We weren't able to stretch the ball vertically in the passing game. It's literally all the things that lead to a quarterback not playing well. Oh, yeah, and he broke his thumb on his throwing hand.
And had surgery midseason.
So there was a lot. I have to continue to remind myself because I have very high expectations for John Mateer in the 2026 season. I won't lie. But you hesitate a little bit because of how last season went.
Right.
But I constantly remind myself, like, everything that could go wrong for Mateer went wrong. Broke his hand. We couldn't run it efficiently. We couldn't stretch the field because of the hand and because we couldn't run it efficiently. Wide receivers didn't create a ton of space consistently. You didn't have a bunch of tight ends to put out there to make defenses prepare for different personnel groupings. There was just a lot working against the guy a season ago.
And I think that's a lot of things, Ted, that you just, in a fan's mind, you're like, well, he's got to make the player. He's got to be better. No, it's hard.
Quarterback's hard.
Especially whenever you're talking about the defenses that they're seeing week in and week out.
Yeah, and it's very difficult to begin with if all those things are in a good place. And when they're not, it makes it – and then, pile on the stress and the anxiety of not playing well and pressing and – it was not a good environment to play quarterback in, but nobody cares about that.
Right.
It is what it is. You got to go out and perform, and he knows that. I think he's a little more comfortable and confident in where he stands on the football team. I mean, last year you plucked him out of Pullman, Washington, and dropped him into the fishbowl of University of Oklahoma SEC quarterback, and it's a lot. That's a big move. Forget the level of competition that you're playing against. Just the environment creates a lot of pressure on a quarterback. So I think he's acclimated to it, and everything that I've seen so far looks positive. Now, I haven't been out there for a scrimmage, and to see them in some extended moving the ball and letting him get in a rhythm. It's kind of short, 3, 4, 5 plays against the defense. And, I mean, you can get a feel for it, but it's hard to, to say, well, how's he look? Well, he looks fine, but, until you see him out there where he can put drives together and try and, build on previous plays and use his legs a little bit, where he can, has full range of his capabilities, that's whenever you're really going to see where the improvement has come so far this year.
One of my hopes is, the NBA stat usage rate?
Yeah.
I would love for his usage rate to go down this year. I think, and thinking back to last season and all of the decisions he had to make throughout the game, hey, am I throwing the RPO or not? Am I handing it off or not in the read-run game? We're in an obvious passing situation. I'm dropping back. I'm reading out the defense. Like, it felt like he had to make stressful decisions essentially all game long for 60, 65, 70 plays. That's exhausting, man. I would love for that usage rate to come down and for it to be a result of, hey, we're just going to come off the football, knock some defensive linemen backwards, and we're going to run it. And all Mateer's got to think about is, I'm turning and handing it.
Right.
It's not a read run. He's not looking anyway. He's just turning and handing it. I would love to see him get some, what I call like breathers.
Gotcha.
Where he just gets to take a couple of plays a game and just reset a little bit, calm down. And that way he's not constantly on edge, having to make stressful decision after stressful decision after stressful decision. And he can only play that way if the guys around him are better.
Right.
And that starts, in my opinion, with the offensive line.
Yeah. I would add, because I totally agree with that. I would also add that I don't think that is, like, there's quarterbacks that are, they're great decision makers, and that's what their game is. Like, think about a Mendoza, right? Super smart with the ball, gets it out. They build off the running game. There's throws that he needs to make. But, like, that's not Mateer's style. He's more of kind of a free-flowing, uses his legs and, plays the game as it comes, not in such a meticulous, laid out, detailed manner. And that's my observation of it. That may be wrong, but I feel like all of the decisions have bogged his true potential down, his playmaking ability, and I think that's where he really shines.
All right, we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about the defensive side of the football at Sooner Sports Talk. We're live from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Stick with us.
Sooner Sports Talk is brought to you by Sooner Kids Club. Log on to Soonersports.com/kids for information about joining the Kids Club presented by OG&E and brought to you in part by Devon Energy. We want to thank all of our Sooner Radio Network affiliates across the state and region. Fans can check out Soonersports.com for an affiliate in your area. And if you're traveling outside the state of Oklahoma, you can listen to all the action on either SiriusXM Radio or download the Varsity Network app and listen free. Dos Equis, the official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. One Oklahoma, powered by Sooner Sports Properties. Fan-fueled, athlete-focused. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue.
Welcome back to Sooner Sports Talk. We're live from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. The segment is brought to you by Riverwind Casino. Always a good time. Now, I am jumping right to our fan question because we were talking about quarterbacks, and I want to carry it over. This is from Mark in Tulsa, who says, guys, who's our backup quarterback?
Good question.
Good options.
I think that's going to be a battle. I mean, I would imagine it's Bo Bentley's if he can go win it and outplay Neubauer. But, Neubauer's, he's a good player, big guy, big arm. He's got some time in this system. I think Bo Bentley, you'd say, is probably a little bit better of a playmaker, getting out on the run, seeing the field. I've only been out to 2 practices, but he's made some really nice throws and some nice plays out there. So I think ultimately that's probably where they would want it to be. And if he can take it, it's probably his, but I'm not sure.
Whit Neubauer is a guy that I know the staff likes, right?
Yeah, he's big, strong, and can really rip it. Mm-hmm. So, and you got to remember, Whit played a bunch as a freshman at Mercer.
Yeah.
And put up some really nice numbers, transferred in, and he's been an interesting player since he's gotten here. We all know that eventually this is Bo Bentley's team. Right? I think everyone can recognize that. But you also don't have to have that guy necessarily be your backup quarterback at the start of the season. Maybe it's a situation, Ted, where, okay, you start the season, Bo Bentley's continuing to develop, he's continuing to understand the offense. Maybe midway through he becomes the backup quarterback. But I hope we never have to really worry about it.
I mean,
that's my hope. We had to worry about it a year ago. I feel like it'd be nice if we could just go an entire season with John Mateer being healthy.
I mean, it's like being the backup quarterback on paper is different than being the backup quarterback, down a touchdown in the fourth quarter on the road against Georgia. I don't know if that's where you want to send Bo Bentley in for his first work, but, I don't know. We'll just have to see. And that'll be up to the staff to see what their confidence level is in him as he develops and gets more acquainted with the system. I mean, it's probably fair to say that right now we don't know because there's a lot of football to be played before we even step on the field in the fall. And Bo Bentley's got 5 practices under his belt, so point. I don't know.
I will say Bo Bentley looks great.
Yeah.
It's good to hear.
The mechanics look really polished already. He layers the ball. Some of those throws we watch him have on 7-on-7 and in the team period where he's touching it up over a backer in front of a safety, like that's really good stuff for a young player to already be displaying out there.
Trey Washington caught the one in the end zone.
Yeah, where
he
put it right over the backer, right in front of the safeties to Trey Washington for a touchdown in one of the team periods. And I was just sitting there going, that's a heck of a throw for a high school kid. Like, you know what I mean?
It's going to be going to prom next week.
So they've been really impressed with his ability to digest the offense and maybe most importantly, to not make the same mistake twice.
It's good.
He's been out there. He's a freshman. He's making some mistakes, but I think Ben Arbuckle, Coach Coos, they've been really pleased with how he's responded when he's made those mistakes. So they're excited about Whit Neubauer and his skill set. And they're really excited about Bo Bentley and his skill set. So that's going to be one of those situations. I think that'll get worked out in training camp.
Yeah. Agree.
And something that I'm sure fans will be watching whenever the spring game comes around here in a couple weeks. Teddy, you talked about Brandon Hall and the job that he's done as the safeties coach. Robert Spears Jennings graduates, has a great, lead up to the NFL draft. Hopefully,
is 4.3 good?
I think running a 4.3 40 is pretty good. But you brought up a great point on the Oklahoma Breakdown, which was sometimes when you're not talking about a position, that's good, and it doesn't seem, as much as people are worried about replacing, depth back there, you like what you've seen so far from that position, don't you?
Yeah, we're big, we're athletic, we're physical, and Brandon Hall's done a really good job developing those guys. They're locked in. There's not a lot of screw ups on the back end from the safety group. They communicate well with each other and with the rest of the secondary and linebackers. I mean, there is a lot asked of the safety position, especially in this defense. There's a lot of adjustments. There's a lot of exotic coverages and blitzes where those guys are disguising and covering some weird real estate from where they align, and they've done a really good job with it. And I expect them to continue to perform really well. I mean, Boganowski, from what I've seen to start off this spring, has looked great. Physically looks amazing, great size. We know he strikes and tackles well. I think that's something he's going to build on. Marion Robinson he's a star in the making. He is a really, really good football player, great instincts. And Brandon Hall coaches those guys hard and demands a lot of them, and it shows up on the field. I mean, it says a lot that you're not worried or stressing out about what the safety position is going to look like, even though it's incredibly important. And if you aren't good there, people are going to make you pay. I mean, it's been a strength of this defense. I mean, there's a lot of really good things to talk about on this defense, but they kind of the one that holds it all together for everyone else to go out and have success.
That's good to hear. Now, there are players you got to replace. Our Mason Thomas could be a first-round pick. Grayson Alton, who also has had a great lead up to the draft. Dominic Williams, Mr. Robert Spears Jennings. But Kendall Daniels guys might have had the breakout season last year for Oklahoma, and that's an important position in this defense. Who have you seen kind of step up at the Cheetah, Ted, in the limited time you got to watch?
Reggie Powers is, he's kind of, if there is an incumbent, it's him. As much as he played last year, they kind of split duties depending on what the personnel package was from the other team. But, we know what we're going to get out of him. Explosive, athletic, plays really good around the line of scrimmage. Newcomb is going to rotate in there. He's a good all-around football player. He doesn't have a lot of size, but don't let it fool you. He can play. The question for me is who's going to be the guy that, whenever we're getting multiple tight ends, big personnel, instead of having more of a defensive back body out there, you need a big physical presence like we had from Kendall Daniels. Is that if we get Heineke back, is that something they ask Sullivan to do? Is Taylor Heim going to be able to step in and take that spot? He's continued to get better year after year. He's been here a while now. He's got it down mentally. So, to me, that's the big question. I'd say it's Reggie Powers is the guy that you know is going to play a ton of reps there. And who fills in behind him? Jeremiah Newcomb, what role do they use him? And who's the big guy and how do they get there? What does that look like if it's kind of an inside backer that they bump out there in Sullivan or a Taylor Heim type?
Do you like what you've seen from Cole Sullivan so far?
I do.
Yeah.
He's got some real good size. He's physical. He's smart now. He's picked up on this pretty quickly. He was coached well at Michigan, so there's a lot of carryover, and he just goes out there and does this thing. And, it's going to take a little bit in spring just to get not just comfortable with the defense. I mean, learning the defense is only, part of it. You got to learn your personnel, who's around you, who talks, who doesn't. Just kind of finding your way in the overall defense and how you fit in is probably going to be the biggest challenge for him. Physically and mentally, I think he'll get there.
He's got Michigan circled, obviously, but Jim Nagy does too.
No doubt about it.
He went into Michigan and got Cole Sullivan to come here, and obviously Brent Venables a major part of that. But that's a big get for the staff.
He is about as physically impressive as an inside backers we've had in quite some time.
He's going to get bigger too.
Yeah, he is bigger. He is more muscled up than what he looked like when they came to Norman, when he was playing for Michigan. Yep. He's clearly had a heck of an offseason. He looks big. So I do think that if we're able to get Owen Heineke back in that inside backer group and we can experiment some more with Cole Sullivan and what his role looks like in this defense, I think that big cheetah role would fit him well because, man, he's got good size, good length, and looks like he's had a really successful offseason in the weight room.
All right, we owe you one more segment before we grab a break. I want to tell you about O'Connor Resort. Whether it's a one-day, or a long weekend, or a special occasion, make your next vacation iconic. Make it O'Connor Resort, where it's always 82 degrees and sunny inside. Take 25% off your stay with the code OUOKC. Book now at O'ConnorResort.com. We only got one more segment left, guys. So let's talk about some biggest questions remaining as we get ready for the spring game right here on Sooner Sports Talk live from Rudy's.
OU's 2025-2026 women's basketball games are available on Ritmo 96.5 FM in Oklahoma City and 101.5 FM El Patron in Tulsa, as well as on those stations' websites. Each OU Spanish broadcast will feature a 15-minute pregame show and a 15-minute postgame show. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. The Sooner Sports Podcast is your all-access audio pass to Sooner Sports. Listen as Toby Rowland and Chris Plank talk all things Sooners. Log on to Soonersports.com/podcast or search Sooner Sports Podcast in your favorite podcast provider. The Sooner Sports Podcast is presented by Allstate and Riverwind Casino.
They're going to go to highlights. That is Kendall Wells hitting one to the moon. I don't know if you guys...
Not bombs, nukes.
That was against Kentucky. We have dubbed the outfield now Home Run Village at Loves Field, you're going to notice a theme here. Lot of home runs being
What have
hit.
you named the area outside of the stadium? What have we come up with that? Because she is sending them, man.
That's Home Run Village times part deux is what it is.
Have you ever noticed how she takes the elbow protector off as she's running the bases?
Yeah.
It's an extra flex,
I've never seen something cooler. I've never seen something cooler on a softball diamond. That's amazing.
Oh, no.
Do we have to?
The crown on Sunday. It was pretty cool. Oklahoma had
This is where I thought we had it.
I thought
right
they
here.
won.
This Davis dunk. I was like, here we go.
Nigel Pack. Oklahoma comes up short in overtime.
We're up 6.
I don't know what was worse, Tulsa being up 4 with 8 seconds left last night, or 6 with a minute and a half. But Oklahoma falls in the crown. They get $100,000 for the current team. They're going to help out some of the equipment managers.
Not a bad week's work right there.
Yeah, he'll take it. 16th straight time the OU women's gymnastics team has won its regional. They're headed to the national championships. Look at Elle Murphy.
They killed it on the vault. But they had like a 49.75 on the vault.
Look at you, Teddy Lehman.
I heard it on Steely's show today, talking about it a little bit. But
shout out Mike Steely.
They're incredible.
Yeah, KJ Kindler. Just that awesome season for the OU women's gymnastics program as they'll be off to the national championship in Fort Worth. Shout out to Mark Williams and the men's gymnastics team. They won the MPSF championship this weekend. I don't know if you can tell this, guys, but there's a lot of winning. Oh, here highlights from that too. A lot of winning that's been going on in the Sooner Nation. Out in Berkeley, the men don't compete in the SEC, the MPSF.
Could you imagine trying to do this stuff, dude?
Oh, you
look
should
at
try
these
it.
guys.
You should try it. I
No,
bet you could.
I can't.
The
I mean,
rings.
Like, look at this.
There's not a single thing they do that my shoulder would handle. Not one single thing.
I mean, my goodness.
Look at that. Absolute perfection.
It's such a crazy sport.
It is.
It's a crazy sport that we are awesome at, so I love it. I love watching it. I can't do any of it, but I love watching it.
The segment is brought to you by Mercy. Mercy, your life is our life's work. You've been out to a couple softball games this year. They're fun, aren't they?
Kendall Wells is worth the price of admission, man. It is. It's so exciting. You talk about just the anticipation at Loves Field Building when number one steps to the plate. It's like everyone get off your phone. Get off your phone. Put your snacks down. It's showtime. Here we go.
She has hit 30 home runs already, so she's tied the freshman record that 2 other Sooners had. And that Oklahoma Sooner softball team, if you're not aware, has hit 144 home runs this year, which means that is the 6th most that have been hit all time in a season. They're going to smash the regular season record that, by the way, 2021 Oklahoma owns. And now their next target, they're 3 home runs away from a top 5 season in home runs.
Wow.
And we're 40 games into it.
What's your prediction of total homers? No one knows this team better than you.
I don't think they're going to get to 200. But, I mean, if
ladies, that sounds like a challenge.
I'd love to be proven wrong. But you got to average right now like 3.7 home runs per game. And we're going to Austin this week. Well, you know what?
I'm excited for this weekend. That's going to be awesome. What are we going to take? 2 or 3 from Texas?
I was thinking 3. But
I like that plan.
Do you know what they do? You know what they have? Texas has the road behind the stadium is considered a city street, so they have no control over it. A guy sits in the bed of his truck. Well, they have people sit in the bed of their trucks watching the game, and he sits out there and he has an air horn, and he blasts the air horn the whole game. And you're like, can you do something about this? You're like, man, it's city streets. There's nothing we can really do about it. So, yeah, they got a little.
That would not fly here. I know that.
Listen,
Austin's a different place, though.
All you have to do is have Kendall Wells hit a howitzer at that guy out there in the bed of his truck.
Could you imagine? She just breaks the air horn with the homer.
You know what I would say, too? You guys need to get her on the podcast because.
It's funny you say that. One of her representatives saw Teddy talking about her on the pod. Maybe reach out to her. We're working on it.
We're
working on it.
She's hilarious. She is
she's funny?
Oh yeah. So Kendall Wells can mash.
Can't be that good and be funny.
She's really good behind the plate. She's got a cannon for an arm, and she's got an awesome personality. Oh, and she's a true freshman who's hit 30 home runs.
Hopefully we get to find out.
Hey, we only got about a minute left, so it's probably a little bit unfair to dive too deep. But I wanted to ask you guys here before we took a break the importance of getting out for the spring game, man. We need to see a great crowd out there, don't we?
I think it's always something that builds a little bit of momentum. These guys are coming off of a really good season. Hopefully we get some good weather. If you get good weather, there's no reason to not come out and see a lot of these newcomers on this team, both offense, defense, freshmen, transfer portal guys. There's a lot to be excited about.
I am just so glad we're getting an actual spring game. Now, we tried something new last year. We all didn't really know what was going to happen. It ended up kind of just being a spring practice. It was actually very entertaining to watch if you came and watched it. But I think we're going to get something very similar to what you and I have been going out there and watching, and the intensity that these guys are practicing with, the physicality, the length of these practices. They're getting work in. So I think we're going to get a nice show on the 18th.
The upcoming Sooner schedule this week was presented by One Oklahoma. One Oklahoma, powered by Sooner Sports Properties, Fan Field, Athlete Focused. Great job, dudes. Good job, Gabe.
Awesome.
Good
Good to be back.
We'll take a time out. We'll come back and put a wrap on Sooner Sports Talk live from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue.
We'd like to thank our OU community outreach partners, Fowler Auto Group, OU Health, OG&E, and Coca-Cola. Sooner Sports Talk is brought to you by OU Fan Shop. The best place to gear up for game day is shop.soonersports.com.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for Sooner Sports Talk in the Huddle. Thanks to Gabe and Teddy. Awesome information on the spring game. This final segment is brought to you by Love's Travel Stops. Love's Travel Stops is the heart of the highway. And I want to see you out at Love's Field on Friday, April 18th, because you could win $1,000 courtesy of the OK Lottery. Thanks to Drake. Thanks to Dan. Thanks for joining us. Until next Monday night, live from Rudy's. Boomer Sooner, everybody.
Live at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, Sooner Sports Talk has been brought to you by Dos Equis, official import beer of OU Athletics. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. And by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Sooner Sports Network.